sure that we're recording this session. I do have Leah Kelly and I have George Baranti that are joining me. So Leah is very, very much involved in putting these PowerPoint presentations together and the blogs and all of that good stuff that you guys get. So she'll be joining us and she'll be answering some of the questions or asking some of the questions at the very end. George is very intimately involved with 10th Street Market and the job board store. So we wanted him on board to be able to answer any of those questions that Leah asks. So speaking of questions, going off to your control panel, you'll actually see the ability to ask questions. Go ahead and ask questions throughout the session. Not a problem at all for you to do that. Just please go ahead and ask those questions, and we'll move forward from that particular point and answer those at the end of the call. If you have questions after the call, please feel free to reach out to myself, George, Leah, your advisor, anyone that you're speaking to, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. So we're very, very excited. We'll go ahead and get started. Again, my name's Haley Hitchcock. We have Leah joining. We also have George joining. And we're talking about the 10th Street Marketing webinar, and it's an introduction to Job Board Store and your active jobs. So we want to talk a little bit about, what does that map look like? How does 10th Street impact you? So we have this map available that kind of shows you how all of our solutions connect together. And they're very important in being able to help you move through the process of hiring, of safety. There's so much that it brings to you. So if you take a moment, out on our website, we have this available too. We also have blogs out. Yes?
The map is not showing.
I'm sorry?
The map isn't showing?
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for interrupting me and bringing that out. Hopefully it's showing now. Leah, we okay? There. Outstanding. See, that's why I have backup plans involved when I do presentations. So this is the 10th Street Service map. And again, it shows you, definitely how things interconnect when it comes to 10th Street. And I really appreciate Leah bringing that up and making sure that it was showing on your screens. I really apologize for that. We do blogs all the time, so please go out to 10thstreet.com and look at the blogs. They give you a lot more detailed information about some of the solutions that are coming out. So if you could do that, that would be great. There's some great new ones that just got released this week, so we're hoping that you'll go and take a look and see if that helps you out in any way, shape, or form. So first off, we want to talk about agencies versus 10th Street. We are not trying to take over any way, shape, or form a position where we're acting as an agency. We're the plumbing. We're the pipeline. We are the individuals that put things together to help you track, help you do attribution, and connect all of the marketing channels when it comes to technology. Your agencies are strategic. They're creative. They help you with all of the branding with your technologies. So I want to make that clear that we're not trying to do agency type of work. What we're trying to do is simplify the process for you and make it easier for both you and the agencies that you currently work with. So that's one thing I did want to cover up front. The best way to look at 10th Street is we're the plumbing. We're the individuals that connect all of the dots. So we're talking about Job Board Store today. So it's new, it's revolutionary, and it's a way to buy advertising all from one digital storefront. If you have enabled active jobs, and I'm going to focus a lot on active jobs today. If you've enabled active jobs, you get all of this different advertising that's available to you, and I'll show you a little bit about that here in just a second. You can support it by drip, having real-time emails go out to job board leads, to individuals that are stalled, that you're trying to connect with, and then we can truly measure it with our Origins solution. So this is what Job Board Store looks like. So we have a few companies online today during this session that are actually using Job Store. And there's a couple different components. You can either order job boards specifically throughout the process, or you can order 10 Street Market. And I'll get into a little bit more detail about 10 Street Market in the towards the end of the presentation. 10 Street Market covers more of a per app application, and you receive a full Intella app. It's not a partial app. It's not a lead. It's a full Intella app. We have several different types of job boards joining us every day within this marketplace. And George, I'm going to call on you real quick. Can you talk a little bit about how we're adding merchants? We call them merchants to Job Board Store every single day.
Yes, we're currently talking to different merchants to come on board. We chose a few based upon their ability to interface with us for the early adopter and the beta program. But now as we're rolling it out, we anticipate adding probably at least a dozen total, maybe more. If there's any specific ones that you would be interested in, let us know and we can contact them. Or if you're a job board listening in today, please contact us and we can get you set up within the job store.
Thank you, George. I appreciate that. So we've made it easy, too, within Job Board Store. So Job Store is actually in Express. Now, you have to be set up for it. But once you're set up, you'll be able to manage your active jobs. You'll be able to manage your company information. There's really, really neat reporting that comes along with it, telling you how the Job Board Store is performing so that you can understand, how your budget's applying and how that information is working towards your common goal of getting candidates to come on board as hired drivers. So active jobs, again, I mentioned at the very beginning, this is the most important part of not only Job Store, but anything that you're doing within 10 Street. Active jobs can actually, it impacts Pulse. Your jobs will show up in Driver Pulse. That's free advertising about all of your jobs that you have available based on locations. It can show up on your Intella app. It'll have a map type of view. It will give a listing of the different jobs that you have available. The newest thing, if you've looked at our blogs, is Facebook. You can actually share that information from Driver Pulse, meaning the driver. They're in there. They're looking at your company. Their best friend is looking for a job. They can actually post those jobs to Facebook. It's really, really neat. And again, it's free advertising available to you. And then, of course, with Job Board Store, your jobs automatically transfer over to the job board. So there's no additional typing. There's no additional data entry. There's no additional work on you from the standpoint of moving information over to a job board. So if you have an Intella app today and you're not using active jobs, this is what basically the applicant sees, nothing. They have no idea what kind of jobs that you're posting, what kind of jobs that you're looking to hire. But if you do have active jobs, they have a clear map that provides them with information, and they have information about what those active jobs are. So think of your active jobs as the jobs that you're hiring for. You can have multiple locations associated with those jobs. You can have multiple states involved. You can have multiple active jobs. But it will help you and the candidate both determine, from the standpoint of an Intella app, how to move forward and what you're actually hiring for. In addition, in Driver Pulse, if you do not have your active jobs activated in Express, this is what your Driver Pulse looks like. You just have your apply button, which is still great, and you still have the ability to have that candidate rate you as an organization. But if you have active jobs, they get a completely different view. They can click on your jobs, and they'll also be able to see your hiring locations. In addition, you're also going to have the little pulse icon in Express and the little blue man match up if the driver happens to have completed their driver profile and actually matches up to the job that you're looking to hire for. Facebook. So we talked a little bit about Facebook. So the driver, when they're in Pulse, has the ability to look at those specific jobs and go ahead and do a Facebook request. So they can go ahead and post your specific driver. So you'll see over here, if you have active jobs enabled, then candidates, drivers that already exist with you today can share those particular active jobs that you have available. Again, free advertising out on Facebook. If you don't have active jobs, then again, you can learn more or apply for a job at your specific company if that driver chooses to post information on Facebook. But it doesn't give specific jobs. So whether you're hiring for company drivers or whether you're hiring for owner-operators, it's not going to show up in Facebook, and it doesn't give you that additional opportunity to advertise if you don't. So again, active jobs is critical. With job board stores, so again, you create your active jobs. If you're not using active jobs and you want to use 10th Street Market or the job board store, there's no information available for you to dictate within a map the areas that you're hiring for. If you are using active jobs, you get the ability in your map to see, here's the locations I want, here's the state I want, here's the zip codes I want. It gives you all of this information that you can select. So down here below, you see that there's an actual job available. There's different locations you can select for. That information transfers automatically over to the job board. So again, you're not having to connect with them outside of 10th Street. They get your active job available, the locations that you're hiring for, and one invoice. You only deal with us on the one invoice. So I want to make that clear. So 10th Street Market's a little bit different. You can still select all of the information associated with active jobs, but what 10th Street Market does is provides you with not leads. So you don't have these partial apps that are coming through, pieces of information. You have full IntelliApps that are coming through. You get to be able to choose your budget. You get to be able to choose your locations and move forward through that process. Once your budget is met, then you automatically are done with that particular program. You can renew at any time, and I'll have George talk a little bit about that here at the end of our presentation today. So from that standpoint, full IntelliApps, it makes your recruiters work smarter and harder. Not harder from the standpoint of they don't have to work the leads so much. You know, they don't have to go through the process of emailing a lead because now we're producing full IntelliApps, so their time is so valuable that they now get to work on those full IntelliApps instead of becoming this engine of sending out emails or leaving voicemails for particular individuals. So this is what it looks like. Today we're chasing leads. We're going after all of these job board leads. We're going after partial IntelliApps. We're going through all of these different cycles when what we really want to do is be focused on qualified IntelliApps. All of our DOT compliant information available at our fingertips. It allows us to work a little bit smarter and less harder than what we were doing previously. So the way to measure that also is through Origins. So for some of our companies that have joined this call today, we also have Origins, which helps you measure specifically how 10th Street Market is working, how Pulse is working, how job boards are working, how DRIP is working, and it gives you data so that you can make educated decisions on how to move forward with your next month's budget. It's really, really interesting. It gives you lots of graphs and information. It gives you realistic information, and it gives you cost per hire, cost per leads, cost per full IntelliApp. It's really beneficial from that standpoint. So if you couple Job Board Store, active jobs with Origins, you're really, really going to be able to measure how your program is working. In addition, we do something called Job Board Scrubber. So for those of you who want to use Job Board Store or 10th Street Market, or you're using job boards independent of 10th Street, we can actually do automated emails. So it's still part of our DRIP marketing program. It's on steroids though. So what it does is it scrubs the information coming from a job board. and it emails out to that particular individual over a very specific period of time. So what we recommend always is within the first week. So hit them a few times within the first week. Here's the conversion rate. If you're not using DRIP, Job Board Scrubber, here's the applications that have come through. Here's the percent that actually convert to an IntelliApp, using your recruiters, using your resources, and manpower, costing a lot of money to be able to do this. If you use Job Board Scrubber, and this is real live information, we actually did a study with these particular companies, these are real companies, to see if Job Board Scrubber really yielded any sort of results. Here's what happened after. Same amount, basically, of job applications, job board leads that came through, the conversion rate doubled. So to work double the amount of full IntelliApps, which comes with the program, you can speak with your advisor about that, then you're going to yield so much more productivity from the standpoint of working that compliant full IntelliApp than before when you're just chasing these lead apps that come out. So again, our blended marketing solution, and we're getting ready for our questions, guys, so if you have questions, go ahead and submit those for those to go out. So the way that Origins, Job Board Store, and 10th Street Market impact everything is it impacts your continuation IntelliApp. So if they are coming in and they're applying with an application and they only partially do it, then it's moving forward. Your statistics, it impacts it from that standpoint. Job Board Store, landing pages, that gives you an automatic opportunity to upgrade to a full IntelliApp. Your candidates can complete something partial. If we recognize them, they're automatically upgraded into several different opportunities to present to you rather than working a lead app. Origins helps you measure what's going on with all of your job boards, all of your sources, all of your referrals, and so much more. It's such a powerful tool. Refer a friend. So it also touches refer a friend, marketing out to your drivers that already exist with you today. Hey, we'll pay you a bonus if you go ahead and refer this friend and they come on board. There's lots of ways to manage the hiring process with those refers, pay out the driver, 10th Street supports that, as well as notify the original referring driver, you're going to get paid on such and such dates. And then, of course, 10th Street Market. And again, 10th Street Market is the delivery by budget that you set of full IntelliApps, not lead apps, full IntelliApps. All right, so Leah, can you tell us if there's any questions that are coming up? And while you're looking at those questions, I'm going to go ahead and talk about a little bit of an offer that we have. So to get you a little bit interested in doing active jobs, I'm going to offer either a $50 Starbucks card or $50 Amazon card. If you set up active jobs and you haven't currently, if you set up active jobs, email me. My email is Hayley, Hayley, at 10thstreet.com. Let me know you've got it set up. We also have some reports that we can run, but I want to make sure that I award the gift card to the people that in this random selection that we'll do. Well, I'll actually award it to people who have actually set it up. So if you do it between now and Tuesday of next week, you'll be put into a random drawing. You can choose between Starbucks, I Love Coffee, or you can choose between Amazon. Entirely up to you. But if you'll do that, you get all of that free advertising. Facebook, Driver Pulse. If you use Job Board Store, you'll also have that opportunity. Your IntelliApps. There's so much benefit you'll get from it that you may not be receiving today. So, Leah, can you go ahead and ask the questions?
Okay, we'll start with the first easy one. What would be my first step to getting to be able to use 10th Street marketing?
George?
You can Either contact us through the information on your invitation, contact your advisor, your account manager, Haley directly. Any of those ways, we can arrange a call to get you started. Pretty simple, easy to do.
Okay, the next one is, with the full Intella app lead, where do the Intella apps come from? Are these candidates that are specifically applying for a job we have listed, or are they drivers that meet criteria that 10th Street sets and then 10th Street sends to us?
So they are specifically for you based upon your criteria. These are not multi-carrier leads. They are based upon an algorithm that we use to generate predictability. So we look in, say, the Dallas market and know based upon how you're filtered that we can get you approximately this many jobs. The prediction takes into account what job it is and the filters you set. So what you're getting are full Intella apps. They're only for your carrier, and they're specific to the job and the location that you ordered.
Okay, thanks. Let's see, the next one. Let me just go ahead and ask this. So this person uses job requisitions in addition to active jobs, but they like the look of the job requisitions on the website. They're wondering if the job store can use the same info that that the job recs use.
And the answer to that is unfortunately no. The active jobs will ultimately be the replacement for job requisitions. What we can do, though, is if that individual will contact their account manager, we can work with you to look at the easiest way to transition. And if transition's not doesn't make sense for you, we can look at ways that you can use both systems.
And while Leah's asking those questions, I did pull up in 10th Street. So if it's showing on my screen how to access active jobs, you can complete company information in your profile. That shows up on Pulse. It shows up in a lot of different areas, talking a little bit about your company. And then you can also do the active jobs. So be aware that it's out there. It's under Manage. So you can go ahead and do those active jobs, edit the job that you currently maybe have out there, add a job, you can add locations. There's all kinds of different things that you can do to make sure that that's published on your Intella apps, Driver Pulse, Job Board Store, 10th Street Market, Facebook, all of these different opportunities for you. Okay, Leah?
Okay, so about our blended marketing solution, somebody's wondering if this would be a practical solution for smaller carriers that usually need to have less than 10 drivers at any given time.
And the answer to that is definitely. One of the clients that we choose for a beta tester was a very small client who had needs that were targeted in 2 different places, and that was all. They didn't a traditional market for a job board, but they were able to successfully use 10th Street Market to target just for that job in those specific markets. And it was a very narrow market, and they had excellent results.
Okay, I think we're getting to the last one, but we've got a great one here. Does it cost money to set up active jobs?
No, it does not. Active jobs are available. You can set those up, and all the features that tie into that, such as Pulse, will automatically be available. So go in, use it, set up a basic job, add some locations. If you need help, contact your account manager or get in touch with us directly, and we can walk you through the process. It's very simple.
It's very simple. I think Haley's trying to show us, right, just how easy it is right over here on the left-hand side of your tools. You can set up active jobs as well as your profile. Okay, let's see if we've got something else.
And while Leah's looking for that, so absolutely, you can load a sample entry. If you're stuck on, what do I really want to say? What do I really want to publish? You can load a sample entry. You can name it whatever you like. You can have different job titles, job pay, requirements, and then you can just fill in the blanks. So we give you a sample out there as well. If you're a little stuck on, well, what do I really want to say? What do I really want to show up on Facebook or on Driver Pulse? and so forth. So keep in mind that you can load a sample entry. And again, like George mentioned, your account manager, your advisor, myself, George, will help you through that process. And again, $50 towards Starbucks or Amazon will put you into a drawing if you go ahead and get this activated, because it's only benefiting you in the future by having this information out there. All right, Leah?
Okay, this one I think has been touched upon, but just to hit it again, if an Intella app is received by one carrier through the job store pay per app, does that mean that same Intella app is not then sent to another carrier?
That is correct. It's a single carrier applicant specifically to you.
Okay. Is there a recommended budget rule of thumb when posting in particular markets? I'm not sure if we can speak to that, but let's put it out there.
Well, no, because it depends on your markets. If you're looking at markets throughout the United States, the prices blend. If you're looking for drivers in the Texas area, that's going to be different pricing than in Kalamazoo, simply because there's more in one market than the other. The great thing about the job store is you can go in there and almost generate estimates. Look at, if I choose better, good, better, or best, how many applications will I receive? What's the budgeted cost? And then we can work with you on that to meet your goals.
Okay, got another one here. Can active jobs be opened and closed as needed and dictate a radius to which to serve up the ad when it's opened?
Currently, you cannot turn them on and off for things like Pulse, the Map, and some of the other campaigns. You're able to do that within the job store and only order the ones you want. They are looking at the ability to archive so that you can turn the jobs on and off. And what was the second part of the question again, Leah?
Can you dictate a radius? Once they are on, can you dictate a radius which to serve the ad to?
The radius, if you either can pick a whole state or a zip code. The radius on the zip code is 25 miles radius. So the easiest way to do additional coverage is to pick a zip code that overlaps. A lot of our clients will pick, they'll make a location set specific to a city, because you can create different location sets, as you can see on the screen. So they'll cluster the zip codes so that it gives them the coverage they want. In Pittsburgh, where I'm from, there's a borderline that if you have to go through a certain tunnel, drivers, you don't want to hire drivers that are going west. So I have a client that's local that uses everything to the west side of the tunnel only, because that's where they want to draw people from.
Okay, let's see. I think we're almost at the bottom of our list. I may not have gotten to everybody because a lot of them flooded through all at once, though there may have been some that just I'm not able to see, but we can definitely reach out to you afterwards if we didn't get to you today.
George, can you talk a little bit about how active jobs, so you send over an order on using active jobs to a specific company, how it uses, I think I have it up on my screen to show you, a little bit about your company highlights, your profile, which job you've selected, which states. This all automatically goes over to the job board. Do you want to talk a little bit about that while it's up on my screen?
Sure. So what you're seeing is the company profile is the same for each position, unless you have multiple alias apps. So if you have a company that's a subsidiary that you operate and you have a alias app, and those of you that have it know what I mean, you can create multiple company descriptions for each of those. So that's attached onto the order along with each job in its location sets. So you can pick a job and then you have flexibility on which location sets that you pick. And based upon the coverage you pick on the map, that will price out. In this case, we have, Oklahoma, Montana, and 2 zip code areas that are included with this job. We send the direct link to the job board if we want to do a direct Intel app only campaign. We also send them a link to the logo that we have so that they can build it. Most of the job boards additionally go into your website to make sure there isn't any additional information that you may want to include. That gets packaged up. Once you submit the order, it's sent over, it's proofed. It takes 1 to 2 days to be set up, and then it's live. 10th Street Market, there's no proofing required because it's already gone through and decided how it's going to set the ads up. That's how it gives the estimate. So as soon as you put on 10th Street Market and order it, and it's for the order dates that are available, those orders will be placed for you. And one of the questions I had sent over was about billing as well. And there's actually two of them. One is, do we do itemized billing? And yes, so you would get itemized billing for each of the packages you order, and you would also have the ability to go in and look at your billing in real time in the archives for billing for months past. So that's available within the job store as well.
Great. Thank you, George. Thank you. Leah, anything else?
Yeah, it's just as far as, I don't remember if we talked about this already, but as far as adding more job boards to the listing, I think we have maybe 5 right now, 5 or 6.
Yes.
What about Craigslist? And just, you know, if you can cover kind of how if we're going to expand on those 5 options that we have right now.
We're looking at any social media market that we may be able to post to, Craigslist, a multitude of them. We want to make this be the one place where you can control everything so that you're getting all the data in to also be able to evaluate. Because that's one of the questions I had is, will I be able to look at information from job boards that I don't get through the job store? And the answer to that is yes. Using Origins, not only will you see how productive the job store orders are, but you're also able to compare your other ones. And I had 2 other questions that kind of fit together quickly. And one, is there a cost for job store? No, there's not. You can set it up for you. You can go in, look at some of the estimates, work with the tools until you do the confirm, I want this, click here, I'm going to be billed. There is no charge. And someone asked, do I have to have a long-term commitment? No, the commitment is monthly. Again, there's no cost to set it up. And if you decide to use it each month, you're asked whether or not you want to renew that ad. You can automatically let it renew, or you can go in and modify it or cancel it. And it's a simpler way to keep track of everything. And the last question I had was, I'm interested in Job Board Scrubber. Do I need to use Job Store? No. Job Board Scrubber is available to our clients whether you use Job Store or not. Of course, if you do, any of the leads that come out of Job Store would automatically be part of the Job Scrubber solution and would automatically get the emails to those candidates. That's all I have.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, George. So what I'm showing right now is Origins, how Origins actually measures a period of time. You can look at lead apps coming in, how many full apps were produced, recruiting, processing, orientation, however you want to set up your hiring process. And ultimately, we're all concerned about hires. You can look at, you know, how many people were hired based on a specific job board, based on a specific, you know, drip campaign, based on Pulse, based on Job Board Store or 10th Street Market. All of that information can be measured so that you're making good financial decisions about how you move forward throughout that process. So keep that in mind. As George mentioned, Job Board Scrubber, which is a drip campaign on steroids, phenomenal results. It will double the information, the full Intel apps that you receive today by just using Job Board Scrubber and placing your recruiters in a position where they're working full Intel apps instead of having to chase down these leads. So there's lots of savings associated with that. You can use it with Origins, you can use it with Job Board Store, you can use it with 10th Street Market, you can use it anywhere that you like to use it, but we also want to be able to provide to you the way to measure your success, you know, measure how you're spending your money and how that's performing for you. Leah, I'm going to ask you one more time before we go ahead and end the call. Any other questions?
Let's see. You just answered one that Jamie had, which was, can you tell when an IA comes in specific to a campaign? So that was the answer was yes. Somebody else is asking about Craigslist and Indeed, and we answered this. So what is the charge for pay per app for each Intella app? Do you want to touch on that?
That will depend upon the posting and the amount of coverage. So when you go into Job Store or into 10th Street Market, and as you see Haley clicking on the lever, it's going to have her tell which job does she want based upon her active jobs, which locations, and then it'll give her an estimate of the cost per application. It'll also tell you how many applications that it anticipates getting for you. If you don't receive all of them, you don't pay for them.
Okay.
So it's a great way to budget.
Yeah, that's a great point that George brought up. If you budgeted, so if we're saying, in this case, it's $800 for all of these units, all of these jobs that have been placed through active jobs to get a full Intella app. And that's supposed to deliver you 50 Intella apps. And we only deliver 40. You only pay for 40. You don't pay for 50. So it's a win-win situation. You're not out the additional money because you didn't get the full Intella app. It's based specifically on what we deliver. We're that confident in the process. All right, guys. Well, we did record the session, so we'll go ahead and send that out. Look out, for it probably. It could be later this afternoon, maybe first thing in the morning. I'll try to get it out as soon as possible. You can go ahead and share that. Reach out to your advisor, speak with them. Reach out to your account manager about setting up active jobs. Be sure to email me if you set up active jobs in your company profiles and get all of this free advertising available for you. Email me so I can enter you into the drawing, and we'll make a decision next week. So between
Haley,
now and Tuesday. Yes, Leah.
Go ahead and give your email one more time, please.
That email address is Haley, HAYLEY, at 10street.com. In addition, we can also track you guys who's adding, your active jobs. But I want to make sure I'm getting the gift cards to the person who actually added it. So make sure you email me. We'll keep track of it. We'll announce it later in the week, next week, and you can choose between Starbucks and Amazon. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for attending today, guys, and we'll talk with you soon. Have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.